fresh planner is a beautiful thing. Hey y'all, it's Taylor from Tattoo Teacher Plans. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. This is going to be the second video in my 2025 goal series, and I'm going to call this 2A because tomorrow's video is kind of like the sister video to this one. So today we're going to be, and let me throw up my little graphic so you know all the dates and everything. Today's video is going to be compass assessment, intentions, and word of the year. And we're going to be actually getting into the planner this week. I'm so excited. This is such a beautiful cover. I also have the forest green one, which is just so beautiful, and a couple of others, but this one I just wanted to start the year out with because it's so pretty. Now, if you are new here, you may want to go back to last week's video, and I have the playlist linked in the description if you want to, just to get some background on like who I am, where I'm coming from, and my process. At the end of the video, I'll be answering a couple questions about choosing your word of the year and setting intentions that I have gathered from Instagram and YouTube. I hope that you will continue the conversation down in the comments as we all prep for the new year. Now, I have my new planner here, but you don't necessarily need a planner. I use the makselife. You don't necessarily need this to do what I'm doing. They have printables on their website, and these are actually old printables from 2019. I just happen to still have the same files, but they have all of the things that you could possibly need on their website. Now, it doesn't have all of the prep work in here, all of this just goodies of information, but for just some basic worksheets, you can definitely go for these, and they're free. You just sign up on their website and they send you the link and you get the whole library. So just a little bit about my process when it comes to my compass assessment and my intentions. I actually printed this off 3 times because I like to do my compass assessment a few times before I actually narrow down the actual number that I'm going to go with. So the reason that I do it several times is sometimes your day or your week can skew your results. Let's say you're having a bad week, you're having a tough one, you may score your life worse than you would on a better week. So I like to kind of get an average eventually once I get through the 3rd one. But it's interesting to see, like, I wish I had made like a note about like what I was feeling this day that I filled this one out and so on, but I don't know. It's just an interesting thing to try if you want to. So I have been doing that for a couple of years, and it's really given me a good starting point. And then I did the same thing for my intentions as well. I started in pencil, and then I moved to pen when I knew what I was actually going to pick. I do have my word of the year list here. We're going to go through that again, but I shared that in the last video. We're going to go through all of it. So what do I have in terms of supplies here? So I've got my 2025 planner. I've got my favorite pen, which is the Zebra Sarasa Clip in 0.7, black, of course. And then I've got my Moxie markers because they just match perfectly. And we're going to use this for my compass assessment. So I'm going to put those off to the side for now. And I think we're ready to open this bad boy up. Oh, it's just so beautiful. I love it so much. Okay, so we got the ruler. I'm going to just pull this out real quick, put that off to the side. I do need to put my name in here. Why don't we do that together? I have these custom name stickers from According to Allie, and I've been using these. I need to probably order another one, but she doesn't do the custom names all the time, so I gotta keep an eye out for that. But let's grab this one right here. I always tear these, so I'm gonna try to be really careful. Gosh, I did it in one piece. Wow. Okay, I'm just going to place this down, and it's going to be crooked because that's how I live my life. So we're just going to do our best. You know what? That wasn't that bad. I'm kind of proud of myself. Okay, so if we go into these pages, I will be doing a setup video just by the way. Sometime in December, I haven't really nailed down a date for that yet, but I'm going to be setting up the other pages in here, like my monthlies, this page, which is like the year overview, and some other things. Okay, so here is my compass page, but we really need to start here with the scoring. And once we finish this section, then we're going to do intentions. Okay, so starting with the scoring, this is very eye-opening. Sometimes I think like I'm doing really well in a category, and this highlights that I am in fact not. Or the other way around. Like I think things are pretty abysmal, and then all of a sudden it's not so bad. So you just never know what this assessment's going to show you. Okay, so I'm going to speed you through this because it can take a minute to do all of this, but yeah, I'll be back in a sec. Okay, just a little note about this one here. So I am a single gal, and I don't have anyone else to support me in the management of my own home. So I'm just going to leave that one out and divide this one by 7 instead of 8 like the rest. Speaking of scoring, let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay. We are scored now, and we can go over here and fill out the life compass. So this is where I'm going to grab my markers. So we're just going to start up at the top with personal. Okay, so for personal, this score was a 7. So we're going to go up here and fill this in. You can do this however you want to. I've just kind of figured out what visually looks best for my brain. And then for each category, we're also going to choose where I want to be as well. So you can look in the example here. So they kind of circle it, but I'm just going to draw a line. So for personal, I would like to be at an 8 by the end of the year. Okay, so we're just going to highlight it like that. And then on to fun and recreation, which was a 5. I was kind of surprised it was that high. So for fun and recreation, I would like to be, I'm going to say 7. I know that feels a little bit ambitious, but I'm going to go for it. Why not? These are goals after all. Then we have work and learning. So work and learning was at a 6. I think a lot of people either score themselves like they feel too harshly or too easy on their compass assessment, but that's why I kind of like to do it a couple of times. Give me a clear view of where I want to be. Okay, so this one, I would like to be in an 8. No, let's say 7. Work has been tough lately, so I don't want to go too far, but let's try for a 7. Okay, family and relationships. So this one is at a 7. Yes, okay. For family and relationships, I'd like to be at an 8. Okay, health and wellness. This has been one of my struggle areas this past year. So where I'm at right now is a 5. I feel like that is too high, but some of the prompts kind of floated my score a little bit. It's not all bad, I guess. Okay, for this one, I'd like to be at a 7. Again, it's going to take a lot of work, but I am down for it. Okay, spiritual and personal growth. So right now I'm at a 6. And I would like to be at a 7. Financial, we're at a 6 right now. And I'd like to be at a, let's go 8. I'm going to say 8. That feels like a lot, but I'm going to try. Okay, physical environment as at a 6. One of the good things about my parents moving to where I live is that my dad, who was the handiest man I know, is going to be at my beck and call, because he also can't sit still at all and he needs a project all the time. So I'm going to give him some projects and he's going to teach me some stuff. Okay, so I'm going to shoot for an 8 for this category. Okay, so here's my compass. So I love the visual of being able to see where I am and where I want to be. I feel like we can do this. We can do it. Okay, so assessment's done. Compass is done. Now we're ready to move on to intentions. Now the intentions page, another printable is available for this. And I suggest, again, do it once or twice just so you can get your messy ideas out and then you can put whatever you want in your planner. Now, if you want to go messy in your planner, go for it. Like, that's your thing. But if you like everything nice and neat like me, you can use the printables. Okay, so intentions for this year. So this is going to be quite vulnerable, but we're going to do it. We are going to open up a little bit here. Okay, so we have our prompts here. We're going to go through each of these together. We're going to choose my word of the year down here. So, starting at the top, what could I use more of in my life this year? Quiet, peace, saving, action, travel, activity, nature, order, and organization. Well, I smudged that a little bit, but that is inevitable. Okay, what can I use less of this year? Noise, excess, complaining, waiting and putting things off, laziness, and waste. What characteristics would I like to nurture this year? Grace, meaning give myself grace, and others, I guess, too. Efficiency, strength, growth, and support. Now, for some reason, this prompt was kind of difficult for me this year, but here's what I came up with. 3 habits I want to develop this year are activity, journal/reflection, because those kind of go together for me, and daily cleaning. This year, I will be more open, purposeful, consistent, strong, and focused. I will do less worrying, hesitating, criticizing myself, and buying things I don't need. I will give myself grace for making mistakes, setbacks, and needing time and space. I will let go of other people's expectations, comparing myself, and keeping things bottled up. I will embrace adventure, help, self-love, the unknown. Now, just a little hint on this section if you are struggling with it. I like to come back to it over and over again several times just so my mind is fresh, because sometimes things will just kind of come to me, or like I was working on my reflections and I would just like notice something and I would jot down something on this page and just like be able to kind of do both at the same time. Not working on them at the same time, but having this like nearby so that when something came to me, I could jot it down so I didn't forget. So that really helps me, and it doesn't feel so overwhelming if you just spend like 5 minutes jotting a couple of things down and then coming back to it like the next day when your mind is fresh and you have new ideas. Now, when it comes to a word of the year, a lot of people get stuck on this and you think you have to find the perfect word. You really don't. You're never going to find a word that encompasses everything that you need, because that's just not how life works. But you can find a word that will work best for you, and if you need to drop it or change it, you can. Here's a secret. There's no rules to this. Like, you can do whatever you want. So some people like to do a word of each quarter or a word for half the year and then refresh their goals and do a word for the second half of the year. It's just totally up to you. For me, one word works for the whole year, but that doesn't mean that it really does. Like last year I had a strong start with my word vitality, and then things just kind of fell apart in the second half of the year. But I didn't have the brain space to choose a different word and start over. So it's totally up to you what you do with this section. You can skip it altogether if you don't like a word of the year. It's totally your call. Now, some questions about word of the year. I got one comment that said, I love the word I chose for this year and applies for the next. Any suggestions or thoughts? Yes, use the same word. Go for it. Again, there's no rules. You can do whatever you want. If that word totally applies for the next year, grab onto it, hold it, use it. That's just my thoughts. And then how do you narrow down your word and choose your word? So do you have any like specific ideas on that? So what I do, I showed this in the last video. It's now covered in cat hair, but sorry about that. I have my list here. This list I just came up with while I was working on my reflections and my intentions, and these are just words that were just like popping out at me, and I would jot them down, and then I would just come back to them over and over again. Some of them I kind of dropped pretty early on, like action just didn't really fit what I wanted to go for, but I did by the end of my reflections find 4 words that I really, really liked and that I thought would work well for the next year. Now, after I finished my intentions, 2 of them were really just calling to me, and that would be peace and nourish. Nourish is such a good word, and I could totally have gone with that one, but I decided to go with peace. And the reason that I went with this one is because this is what I really need in my life. In all areas, like all 8 categories, I need to find peace with myself. I need to find peace around me. I need to create peace in my home. I need to find peace in my finances. Like this one just fits. So just remember this is a process, and like you're not getting graded for this. You're not being judged by your word of the year or your word of the quarter or like not choosing one at all. It's totally up to you. And this kind of goes into the next question. How do you ensure your word aligns with your goals for the next year? And that is working on everything, then deciding on your word. So you can skip this part until the end, like after you're done with your annual goals, if like nothing is really clicking, and then do this last. So if that's kind of where you're at, just kind of like put this away and come back to it. So the word that I went with is peace. And I think it's going to work out really well. Tomorrow we're going to break it down into my mind map, and you're going to kind of see where I'm headed in each category. But for now, we're just going to fill in this section. So my word is peace, and I always like to put in the definition just so I have like all the different aspects of the word. So this one, there's a couple of different ways you can come at it, like different angles. So I'm going to write those in, and then what my word means to me is going to kind of wrap everything up with a bow. Peace is a state of tranquility and quiet. It is freedom from oppressive thoughts or emotions, and it is harmony in personal relations. So what this word means to me, I will seek harmony and quiet in my life and relationships. I will work to create more stability and consistency in my routines and activities. And I will nourish myself so that I can help others. I think this is going to be a really good word for me. After a few tumultuous years, I need some peace. So before we wrap things up, I'm going to add a little bit of color with this. I like to do this with my reflections as well, so this is nothing new here, but I would like to add just a little bit of color.
Look at me sometimes like all you want to do is run. Hear me out.
And then for this bottom section, I'm just going to take the orange because it's the next color in line. And I'm just going to outline my word, and we will add means to me here. Okay, now this, I usually kind of alternate my colors and stuff, but let's just grab the gray and highlight this a little bit. And we can do the same for the compass assessment as well. This is obviously not necessary. So today we did the life compass and assessment. We did my intentions, and it shows my word of the year, and broke it down briefly about where I want to go with it. Now next time we're going to take my word of the year and we're going to break it down a little bit. Now we have a couple of different spaces in here we can use that for. So I usually use these 2 pages. We also have the idea garden, but I want to use that for an idea garden. So we're going to probably use these 2 pages and do a mind map. So let me show you last year's. I think I'm going to go in a different route. Here's my intentions for last year. Like last year I did this, which was great. I really liked it. And I just wrote things like ways that I can bring vitality into my life. But this year I'm going to do something a little bit different, I think. So don't freak out. If you like copy this style, don't freak out. I think it's going to be a good idea, but you can do whatever you want, like I always say. If you have any questions for me, leave those down below. We can continue the conversation. And if this was helpful or at least entertaining, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps me out a lot. And you can share this video with somebody you think might like it. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed, and hit that notification bell if you want to be notified when I upload. And I'll see you tomorrow for the mind map. Bye.